The Commentary Booth is a show for media lovers by media lovers just like you. If you want to support the show, go to jamiapsmedia.com. Welcome to the Commentary Booth, the ultimate weekly entertainment recap and review show. My name is Jamie Apps, and each week I'll be joined by a rotating cast of co-hosts to run you through the entertainment media we've consumed during the week. Along the way, we'll provide you with insightful commentary and reviews. This week I'm joined by a DJ and music marketing executive at Tag Live who lists their favourite movie as Donnie Darko and has now switched from Seinfeld to Parks and Recreation as his favourite show. Welcome back to the show, Jaxon Carr.
Thanks for having me back. Happy New Year.
Same to you. Did you get up to much despite the restrictions?
Man, honestly, I had the most relaxing time. I was up in Nelson Bay at my parents' house for like 3 weeks. I only got back on Friday. I came back to Sydney for a night for New Year's Eve and went back up there, and it was just nice to not do a lot, just start planning my year. So it was very nice. How about yourself?
Had a busy Christmas and stuff, as we spoke about on the Christmas episode, but then New Year's, I think we were both in bed by 10 o'clock or something.
Yeah, nice.
Everyone I know sort of lives in Wollongong or Greater Sydney, and I'm literally just outside that restriction zone. So I'm like, I don't want to particularly go into there and then have issues if I want to go somewhere else.
Yeah, because I'm in Alexandria, and originally I was going to have 50 people over for a house party, because that's what you can have if you have an outside area, which I do. And then it went down to 10, and then I remember when I was driving from Nelson Bay to Newcastle to get the train with my mum, I just got all these messages from people being like, oh, the restriction's gone down to 5 people, we can't do it anymore. And I was like, you know what, I don't really care. So I just cruised around, hung out, and had a bit too much fun, but it was fine because I was with the restrictions, but it was nice. So, yeah.
There's not a lot you can do with only 5 people, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, it's for the greater good, and it's just one New Year's. Like, hopefully we're going to keep kicking this thing's ass, and we'll be fine. So,
yeah, the numbers seem to be doing better now, so that's nice.
Yeah, it was actually funny, like being up in Nelson Bay. If you go to any venue, they had a list of places. If you're from there, you can. Like in Sydney, you can't actually go to these venues, and because I moved up to there for like the lockdown at the start of in March, I haven't actually changed my address to where I am now because I knew I was going to move, and I just thought it was easier if I was there. And obviously, if I was in a restricted area, I wouldn't have gone out. But since I was only in Canberra for a day, and then when I first went up there, I got a test and just stayed in my room for 2 days, and I was all fine. So I was following the rules. But yes, it's nice to see like these country towns, despite how bad tourism's been and now is better, that they were trying to like stick to the rules as well. So a lot of people doing the right things.
Yeah, there's plenty doing the right thing, but then there's always those couple that have to ruin it for everyone, I guess.
Yeah.
Like the people caught down at Huskisson and Ulladulla recently, like that's...
Yeah. And that wedding that had like 600 people or something.
Yep. Yeah, there's always people that think they can just do whatever, but thankfully they're all getting caught out.
Yeah, I'm all about that. Like I know someone that actually called the cops on someone about a New Year's Eve party that had too many people in there, and I was like, you know what? That's great. Do it. Like, why is there rules for one and then rules for everyone else? And if everyone's trying to do the right thing, I don't care. Be a snitch. Like, it's for the best.
Yep, especially for you that has like a very elderly grandmother. Like,
yeah,
if you've got to follow the rules and don't get to see her as much, like. Everybody should follow the rules so that people can see their family.
Yeah, and then also my mum's in her 60s as well, so it's not like it's a bad thing. Like mum's in her 60s, so it's bad for her, and then also it's bad for you as well. So like, as long as people are doing the people around you doing the right thing, you get tested. Like, yeah. Anyway, then yeah, negativity's enough. Let's keep the positive vibes going, and we're a new year, 2021, WON1, but yeah.
Have you done any New Year's resolutions or anything this year?
Yes, I actually have. You would actually quite like this. So I've set myself a goal. Unbelievably, for me, I haven't actually told anyone this, From the 21st of January, I'm going to aim to do at least 100 days sober in a row.
Wow. That's a big one.
Yeah. So, yeah, my mum last year didn't drink the whole year. It's the second time she's ever done it in her life. And my family is very much alcohol enthusiasts, as you can probably tell from knowing me. So it's like, you know what? Getting back to being healthy Jackson, action Jackson. I'm going to do 100 days sober, and then the date ends on the 2nd of May, which is Ali's birthday. But might keep going, but that's my goal, 100 days sober, and I'm still doing my dry July, and that's my main goal. I want to read 12 books as well, and yeah, that's all I can kind of think of at the moment. How about yourself?
You mentioned reading 12 books, so one a month. That is literally what I've set myself as well.
I swear to God, we did not even discuss this before we got on this call. This is very weird. So, hell yeah. I love it.
Yep. Yeah, like I was just looking, I was in the office the other day and I was just looking at my bookshelf and I'm like, I have a lot of books up there that I bought with the intentions of reading and then either started and didn't finish or never even started some of them.
Yep. I've done this before. I'm with you. Like, I've got at least 6 books I need to read and then I'll find 6 more, but yeah.
One a month doesn't seem all that difficult. It feels achievable. It's not like I'm setting out to do one a week or something, so...
I know people that are trying to do 52 this year. Like, good on them. They're power readers. Like, Ali, when we were up in Nelson Bay, got given a book and she finished it in a day, and that's not the first time I've ever seen her do that. So there's a lot of people that are readers like that, but I guess with us, we're on a lot of social media platforms. We're easily distracted working. So I think one a month is a great goal.
Yep. Yeah, like you can just... It's a good way to wind down every night too, I've found. Like, just go and lay down, read a couple of chapters, and then by the time you do that, you're ready to sleep. It's good.
Yeah, I wanted to, before I go to bed, another thing I want to do is not look at my phone for at least half an hour before I go to bed. So that'll mean encourage me to read or go for a walk or do something. So yeah, I'm totally into this. So what's the book that you're the first one you might start, or what is there anyone that you've identified that you want to do over the next few books?
So I've finished one already. I'm counting it as my January one, even though I started it late last year.
I've got one I started late last year, and it's going to be my January one as well, because it's when you finish the book. So yes, yep.
Yeah, so I finished Crazy is My Superpower, How I Triumphed by Breaking Bones, Breaking Hearts, and Breaking the Rules.
Okay.
It's written by AJ Mendez Brooks, who is a former WWE female wrestler.
Yeah.
Now the wife of CM Punk, who I think a lot of people know that name.
Oh, cool.
So her book is on the New York Times bestseller list, and it's an autobiography which goes through her childhood, all of her family's battles with drug addiction, poverty, mental illness, and then it moves on to her discovering comic books and nerd culture and then wrestling and how she progressed through the ranks of wrestling and also dealt with her own mental health issues, in particular with bipolar disorder.
Oh, cool.
So it's a really inspiring and insightful book. Like, she actually is very open, happy to discuss. Like, obviously mental health isn't something that everybody is open and happy to talk about, but she goes into pretty big detail. And
oh, that's awesome.
A really good book to read. Like, even I think people outside of not necessarily wrestling fans would enjoy reading this biography.
I think we might have to do a book swap, and I'll think of something for you, but that sounds like something that I'd love to read a few months down the track, because I have a bunch of books I need to read. I'm even looking at it right now, so I know what to talk about in this call. But yeah, that actually sounds amazing, and autobiographies and biographies are amazing to read, and I'm big in mental health and trying to talk to people, and I think that's kind of a reason why I want to go sober for 100 days as well, just to try to sort out my brain in a couple of ways as well. So that sounds great.
Yeah, like I read novels, but I'm much more of a autobiography or biography person.
Yeah, I love autobiographies or biographies, and also I always get this confused. So you might need. I like fiction. Is that the one that's actual like real stuff, or is that or like a Harry Potter?
Non-fiction is sort of like a documentary type thing.
Oh yeah, so I'm much love like non-fiction books. I'm a big fan of them, and majority, literally, 2 of the books I need to read are one's written by it's the Shane Warne autobiography, but it's written by Mark Nichols, so I assume that's a biography. And the other one's That's What I Reckon, who's this superstar YouTuber that we've discussed before, and he's now had his book, and it just looks amazing. And I think it delves into a lot of mental health stuff as well that I haven't started, but Ali got it for me for Christmas. So there's them, and then I've got this book called Everything Is a book about hope, which is by Mark Manson, which is the follow-up to Orange book that everyone seems to read on holidays.
Yep. I don't know what it's called, but I can picture the cover of it in my head.
Yeah, hold on. I'm just Googling it now. So I read his first book, and it was, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a and I've read it once.
Yep.
And I read it when I went through a breakup, and I've got this other one by him. So they're three of the books. And then Ali got me this book that I never even heard of before, and it's called This Is Your Brain on Music, and it's all about the science of human obsession with music and how it just looks. She heard it on like talkback radio in like May and was like, you know what, I'm going to get it for Jackson. And it just looks so interesting because it's just all about how people love music and how like it's all around us from everything from like mothers singing to their kids going to sleep to being at sports games, being on ads on TV. And she was like, Jackson loves music, so these are four of the books I need to read, and really excited just to get cracking into it and make sure I read at least a chapter or two of a book a night, and then
yeah, that music one sounds like it's perfect for you.
Yeah, like I literally saw it. I was like, this looks incredible, and I need to read it. But I was like, if I'm doing these book things, I need to read the Shane Warne autobiography because, fun enough, I bought it when it came out because he's my favourite. I like to call him an athlete because I believe he's an athlete, but people don't really believe he's an athlete. But I bought it when it came out, and then did a book signing at Divix in the city, and I went on my lunch break when I was working in Bonner Junction. I lined up for an hour to get it, like the book signed and a photo with him. And I was like, oh yeah, my name's Jackson with an X. But he thought my name was, and I was like, it was like your son's name. And he signed the book saying bold Jaxen, and I've got his signature. So I was like, I waited all this time, and he messed up.
He butchered my name.
I was like, my name's like your son's name, but this book's incredible. I love Shane Warne. I really like it. I'm 100 pages in, so I'm a fourth of the way, and it's really interesting. And I only seem to like cricket when it's summer. In the winter, I don't like cricket, but despite everything Shane Warne's about, I'm a big fan of his. And I remember one time when I was younger, like 7 or 8, we were down in Darling Harbour, and all the Aussie cricketers were like walking into somewhere, and people were trying to get like autographs with cricketers, and none of the cricketers like Mark Waugh, Steve Waugh, Gilly all walked in, and Shane Warne literally stopped and signed autographs like 10 or 15 people, and I was like, you know what? He's actually a legend. So ever since then, I've loved him. So I'm really enjoying the book, and it's even though Mark Nichols wrote it, you can just tell he sat down with Warnie and they spoke for ages because there's some of the stuff he says and his personality really comes out in it. So Mark Nichols, 100 pages in the book, has done a really good job. So I'm loving reading. I'm not going to lie, it's great.
Yeah, I've enjoyed getting back into it this year. It's been nice. I've read one of the Shane Warne books. I don't know what it's called. I can't see it on my bookshelf, but I also read like when Steve Waugh was the captain of Australia. I was reading all of the tour diaries that he put out, and
oh yeah, awesome.
I love all those sort of books.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, this Crazy is My Superpower one, I would rank it alongside some of my other favourite wrestling books as well.
Wow.
Mick Foley's Have a Nice Day is an awesome one to read his story. Chris Jericho's first book in his series, The A Lion's Tale, another really good one that explores the way he split up his books is they all stop at like a pivotal moment in his career. So the first one is him discovering wrestling, getting into wrestling, and then it ends right as he's about to walk out for the famous Y2J intro.
Oh yeah.
On that debut night. And then another book I have read before is Daniel Bryan's autobiography called Yes.
Oh, he's the bloke that goes yes, yes, yes with like two fingers in the air, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's him. And yeah, this one focuses all on his journey to WWE and the top of that field, but it focuses a lot more on his independent early days.
Oh yeah, cool.
So that's another really good one.
Well, I might have to start reading some of these books and borrow them from you because as discussing the other day on twitter.com, I'm going to get back into wrestling. I saw a tweet being like, what is a wrestler that got you into wrestling? And I tweeted about Shawn Michaels. And then was like, should I get back into wrestling? And I think I need to get back into it. It's another distraction for my life, but I stopped watching it when Shawn Michaels retired from losing to Undertaker, and I think I'm ready to start again. So, what's the AEW, the Jaguars owner, that thing we've discussed before? I need to watch that. And
Yep. Yeah, so Tony Khan, who is the son of Shad Khan, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, he, alongside a couple of other wrestlers, Cody Rhodes and Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, they started a promotion called All Elite Wrestling, or AEW, and that's probably my favourite promotion at the moment. It's just got a nice mixture of the WWE storytelling style, but it also has more of a sports slant as well, so they actually focus a lot more on the in-ring action rather than the drama and the outside backstage skits.
Yeah, I've noticed that, like, as much as I stopped watching it after Shawn Michaels retired, I still occasionally would turn it on, and you just get over all the ads and all the backstage skits. I just want to see people wrestle. So This sounds like a great thing. So tell me when the next pay-per-view's on or something, and I'll watch it with you, and we can even do like a live reaction podcast or something, and you can just hear me asking you all dumb questions, and you'll actually... I watched the Paul Gallen fight the other day, and as much as I don't like fighting, Full got up and started like boxing the air, and I was like, yeah, come on! And I was full getting into it. So you can live react to me getting into sport, into wrestling. I'm into it. Let's do it.
Yeah, nice. Sweet. So yeah, I've started the next book in my list, which actually is sort of in this AEW area. I'm reading Matt and Nick Jackson, who are known as the Young Bucks. I'm reading their autobiography called From the Backyard to the Big Leagues. And it's literally focusing, I'm only a few chapters in, but it's focusing on how they've discovered wrestling, how they had their dad build a ring in their backyard.
Oh, cool.
They started their own little company, and then eventually they've gone on to now work in the second biggest promotion in America, and probably the second or third biggest in the world.
So, question, when it comes to the second biggest promotion in America, is it like comparing the NFL to the XFL where there's like a big gap, or is it more like comparing, I guess, like the English Premier League to the English Championship, where the quality's still just below, it's still quite good and it's quite watched, if that kind of makes sense?
Yeah, so in the past it was a big gap, but now that AEW has popped up and they have the financial backing of the Khans, they've actually been able to sort of really close that gap for a change, whereas in the past where it's been WWE has just been this gigantic company that no one can get close to. Now AEW's come along, they have the money and the ability to then go and book these big shows and compete on that level.
Oh, cool.
In the ratings recently, they've been beating some of the WWE shows. Like,
wow.
They are constantly beating NXT, who air at the exact same time as them.
Wow. And is it the same length shows as well, or is it...
Yes, so Raw on a Monday in America is 3 hours.
Yeah. Oh,
SmackDown, I'm pretty sure, is 2 hours.
Yeah.
But AEW have their Wednesday night show, Dynamite, is a 2-hour show. And they had Snoop Dogg on there this week.
I saw that. That was Snoop Dogg's everywhere. So basically AEW is more like less filler, more killer, whereas like WWE is more like, oh yeah, we'll fill up our time with some skits backstage, our ads and whatnot. So
Yep, yeah, AEW is all about the fast-paced, high-flying action. There's constantly something happening, and they build their stories with moments in the ring rather than, hey, these people are going to fight backstage and then that's going to lead to a match 3 months down the line. These guys they'll have matches and they have weekly rankings. So if somebody's on a winning streak, you sort of start to see that, and then that builds tension with the champions, and eventually they end up getting into a match down the line.
Wow. Okay, I'm into it. This sounds much more interesting, and especially with like small attention spans these days, thanks to me being brainwashed by TikTok, this sounds like something that would be more interesting for me. And you've convinced me. Next podcast, I'm going to review an episode. That I promise you, I'm into it. Sounds great.
Nice. Yeah, definitely check out AEW Dynamite. They have another an hour-long show that they put on YouTube called AEW Dark, so that might be a nice introduction.
Yeah.
But that's more the sort of... You probably won't get like a Young Bucks or a Cody Rhodes on that show. You'll get some of the lower tier guys that are sort of coming through the ranks, but you'll still get a feel for the action.
Beautiful. I'm into it. I'm done. I'll watch it and we'll talk about it in next month. Pinky promise.
Awesome. Brilliant. Looking forward to hearing that, and then we'll definitely work something out for their next pay-per-view, which I think will be like February or March or something.
Yeah, cool. At the moment, I don't work. I'm assuming it's going to be on a Monday because of Sunday over there, so I don't work Mondays, so I can...
No, they are smart. They run theirs on a Saturday over there, so they're perfect for us. Sunday lunchtime most of the time.
As long as Portland's not playing in the NBA at the same time, I mean, unless it's Portland versus a dud team, but
yep.
I'm very much loving watching basketball at the moment. I watched 3 games today and I'm loving it, so yeah.
Yeah, so you were cheering on LaMelo.
Bro, I still got my Hawks jersey on. I saw him last game against the Pelicans, and he was so close to a triple-double, and I was blowing up the coach for not keeping him on, and then I knew today he was going to get one. And quote me on this, you know how Russell Westbrook always gets triple-doubles like every game or two? Now LaMelo's got his first one, he will start getting them so much more. Then when he starts starting as well, game over. Like everyone thought he was a bad shooter, but he's just wonderful, and I love the fact how good he's going. LeVar Ball is just he just knows what's going on. He's very great. I reckon LeVar Ball. I don't know if he's in wrestling or something, but I reckon he's a great promoter and he's great for his sons. And yeah, I was very happy to see him get his triple double today. It was great. And then Portland won by heaps as well, so it's been a great day.
So did LaMelo get a triple double and didn't start?
Yeah, no, he hasn't. He's played 10 games all off the bench. He was one assist away from getting a triple-double last game against his brother, and he even shot a 3 of his brother. And then today he got one, and he got it just at the start of the fourth quarter. Didn't start, absolutely smoking it, doing so well. And you just saw his confidence and how happy he was. But yeah, he's the youngest player to ever get a triple-double. It's funny, his older brother, Lonzo, was the youngest in 2017 in November, was the youngest player to get a triple-double. He took over LeBron's record. Then Marcus Fultz got one, and then LaMelo beat him by like 200 days. And LaMelo was also the youngest person to ever get a triple-double in the NBL as well. So, just wonderful. Like, he was just, absolutely nailed it, and just so good to see. Because I know when he got drafted 3, a lot of people were like, oh, LeVar was talking him up. A lot of people were doubting him, and he didn't start the best. But if you're getting a triple-double within 10 games of your NBA career, and you're not even starting... My favourite player, Dame, has got one in his whole career, and he's one of the best players to ever play for Portland, and he's only ever got one. And LaMelo got one in 10 games from the bench. Sorry, that's next level.
Yeah, he's going to be a big asset for that team later down in the season once he's used to the NBA and is starting. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's great. And then someone else that's doing amazing from the bench at the moment is Patty Mills for your guys, San Antonio. I reckon LaMelo will start starting soon enough, and you get that. I'm calling it now. You quote me in the year. Patty Mills will be in the top. I reckon Patty Mills will win 6th man of the year.
Yeah, I think I think he's come close a few times. Like, he's such a good asset for the Spurs off the bench.
I would love him to come back to Portland and be a backup point guard, but I reckon he'll go close. I've been reading a lot of stuff, and I reckon he'll go close to being 6th man of the year because he's hit 8 threes the other day. Today, you won in overtime.
He's a defensive beast when he needs to be as well.
Yeah, which is great for the Australian Boomers this year in the Olympics. That's this year, isn't it? Yeah, so...
Oh, yeah, it all got shifted to this year. That's going to be a fun trivia question at some point down the line.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What year were the Tokyo Olympics? And everyone's going to be like, oh, 2020. Wait a second.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. It was 2021, so, yeah.
Have you been checking much else out?
All right. Unbelievably, I started watching this television show that they've done 14 seasons. They've been renewed for 2 or 3 more. And somehow, it's a sitcom, somehow I've never watched in my life. It's about 3 blokes that own a bar. And obviously, besides my sobriety coming up, I love going to bars and I love this. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is. I've watched the first two seasons and it's so funny, and I kind of hate myself for the fact I haven't watched it before, but I also love myself for the fact that I'm experiencing it right now for the first time because it is just great. Like they start out with a bang. The first episode, I can't get over why I haven't watched it, but it's wonderful. I did this Twitter poll being like, oh, should I watch Curb Your Enthusiasm because I love Seinfeld, or should I watch It's Always Sunny? And It's Always Sunny won by like 2 votes. I was like, I'll start watching this. On Amazon Prime. I'm obsessed. I can't stop laughing at it. It's just wonderful. It's so funny. It's great.
Confession time, I haven't watched it.
Up until 2 weeks ago, I was the same person as you, but it's just... Danny DeVito appears in the second season. I think he's going to be in it for the whole time. But yeah, it's the longest running ever sitcom. And obviously I don't really know a lot because I think it was the first 2 seasons. But I did this poll on Twitter and like 2 different people added me like Twitter group chats discussing how good the show is. So I just know it's going to keep going well, and it's another reason to keep Amazon. Sorry, Ali, but yeah, it's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, I guess the fact that it has run for so long, like they obviously haven't lost any momentum if they're still going, and have been able to keep it fresh for so long rather than it just getting stale.
Yeah,
because that is an issue with sitcoms.
Oh, yeah, like I know Seinfeld fell off towards the last season besides the Festivals episode, and I know Parks and Recreation ended because they wanted to end because they didn't want to get stale, but yeah, it's great. Like, it's so funny, and the scariest thing is that I think it first started in 2006 when I finished school, so I kind of realised it's really old, and I'm enjoying a show from a while ago, but yeah, it's the writing and just the people in it, and it's just great. Like they've absolutely nailed it, and I'm really looking forward to experiencing more and more of this journey.
Nice. That is always fun when you go back and watch something. You go, oh wow, this started so long ago.
Yeah.
You quickly realise how old we are.
Yep. Anyway, moving on. Let's not talk about our age. Age is just but a number. How about yourself? What have you checked out lately that you've been enjoying?
So it's been a lot of movies just in the holiday break. Like, been trying to get out and actually do some stuff when I can, taking the dogs for a walk type stuff. We took them to there's a fenced-in cricket field near me now, so we took them there the last few days, and just Lauren's dog doesn't usually go off the leash, but because it's all fenced in and we know that she can't get anywhere and there's no other people or dogs around to sort of cause issues, we just let Kiki and Toby off, and they sprint around for a lap, and they sprinted for about a quarter of a lap, and then they were buggered for the next lap and 3/4 because we did 2 laps of the field, and they were dead after the first quarter.
That's going to be me tomorrow when I start running again. So yeah, no, I understand their pain.
So yeah, we watched a couple of movies. We checked out. Which order do we go in here? We'll go with the biggest one first. We watched Wonder Woman 1984.
I've heard mixed reviews. I'd love to hear your opinion.
Yes, that is the overarching theme of the reviews, I think, at the moment. For me, it didn't surpass or equal the first one. It was still good, but not as good as the original. I don't see it being anywhere near as bad as some people have made it out to be online.
Yeah.
Yes, there is too much CGI. Yes, the big fight at the end is just as underwhelming as the first movie. But apart from that, I really enjoyed the new setting and some of the themes and the performances. But yeah, it just sadly didn't equal or surpass the first one, which you kind of hope for in a sequel.
Yeah, okay. So is this kind of the movie that you can afford to see on the TV, or is it something you need to watch on a big screen?
I would just, happily watch it at home. It's not like a Tenet or something that you need to sort of go and see on that big screen for the first watching. But yeah, it's just a fun weekend movie, I think.
I haven't seen Tenet. I guess I messed up by not watching on the big screen, but yeah, okay. So
yep.
Yeah, okay. I might wait for the rent it from one of the websites you can rent it from.
I think it is out now.
Really? That was quick.
I keep seeing the ads on Foxtel and stuff to rent it now, so it must be on somewhere you can rent it.
Oh, I should have watched it. My parents have Foxtel. I don't. I should Watched it when I was up there. I'm going back up to see it in February. Maybe I'll watch it then.
Yep. So yeah, Wonder Woman 1984 has Gal Gadot return as Diana Prince, who is Wonder Woman. The sequel to 2017's Wonder Woman. But then this time, obviously, as the title suggests, they've moved from the World War II era to 1984.
Yep.
Once again, Diana, who sort of, her whole ethos is set around fighting the various evils of mankind. In the first one, it was obviously violence and war. This one is more greed and ego, which obviously fits perfectly in the excess of the 80s. The big bad guys are Max Lord, who's played by Pedro Pascal, and Barbara Minerva, who's played by Kirsten Wiig.
Yep. Oh, she's great.
Yeah, and they managed to get Steve Trevor back with some magic happening in the story. Not going to reveal exactly how, but this Max Lord is just like this charismatic businessman, TV personality that's trying to get rich through an oil company. Barbara Minerva wants to she's like a smart historian, archaeologist type lady, and she wants to sort of get the recognition of someone like Diana, who's seen as this beautiful, smart person and strong. Obviously with greed and excess, that sort of an ego that starts to play in with where the story goes, and they have to be fought off by Steve Trevor and Diana.
Okay.
Chaos ensues, and yeah, like I said, it was a fun, enjoyable action movie. The performances were really good, but yeah, the CGI kind of diminished it a little bit, where there was elements of that in the first one with CGI, but they kind of focused more on making it grounded and realistic and actual physical movements, whereas this one, like, it is really over the top and you can see the CGI elements, so that takes away a little bit. But I think if you're a DC or Wonder Woman fan, you'll really enjoy it, but for most other people it'll just be a run-of-the-mill weekend action movie.
Yeah, fair enough. Sounds like a Saturday night movie when you're hanging out and just to watch on the TV, so check it out in a few months, I reckon.
And then, as I mentioned, I watched another one. This one was quite different from that. This one was a little bit heavier. It's called Promising Young Woman. This one was originally meant to come out sort of between April and June last year in Australia, but obviously with cinemas and everything getting ravaged by COVID, they shut, and this movie got pushed to January of this year. And it's a dark comedy which follows a 30-year-old woman, Cassie Thomas, who's played by Carey Mulligan. And she sets out on this revenge plot to get revenge against all the people who wronged her in the past. It's a pretty dark and heavy film at times because it centers around sexual assault.
Ooh.
In particular, the sexual assault of drunk women or girls who are taken advantage of by sleazy so-called good men.
Yeah.
Like they're the good guys because they're helping these drunk people get home and then they take advantage of them. And so obviously Cassie sets out on this revenge plot because her friend Nina was raped at a college party when she was very drunk. And then ultimately from that she ended up committing suicide. So after then, Cassie had never been the same. She always just she dropped out of med school. Everything about her life changed because of that one moment. And from there, she sets out as she'll go out regularly, act really, really drunk, wait until a knight in shining armor comes and tries to help her and take her home. And then if they try to take advantage of her, just as they're about to have sex, she'll snap back out and be like, I'm totally sober, and start talking to them as if she's sober and telling them how gross and disgusting they are.
Oh, wow. Seems like a very female-strong movie, which is nice to see.
Yes, very. It is very much all about sort of women's empowerment.
Margot Robbie produced it.
Yes. When Cassie sort of learns that Nina's rapist from college is about to get married, that's when her plans really escalate and go very, very crazy.
Yeah, okay.
So watching it, it reminded me very much of Kill Bill. So it's split into, there's like parts. So there's like part 1, part 2, part 3, and then ultimately part 4. And it's not, obviously not graphically violent like Kill Bill is, but it's very dark and disturbing and just one that really makes you think and see things in a different light.
It's interesting to hear the fact that this is a dark comedy, because hearing everything you've spoken about it doesn't seem like it should be a comedy, but yes, they're kind of, I don't know how they do it, but they must like kind of flip it to make it funny. But these things they talk about is something that's very prevalent in society, and it's something that's been going on for a long time, and something women have to face every day. And yeah, it just seems a very interesting movie, actually.
Yeah, when I first saw the trailer back at the start of last year, I was like, oh, I need to see that. That looks really good. And it is an awesome movie. And as I mentioned, it is a dark comedy, so they do sort of, at the start, they really do play up the surprise, I'm actually sober, and freak the guys out that way. When she sort of starts to set out on this revenge plot and take revenge on people, it makes it so you think she's done something terrible, and then it'll at the last second flip it and make you see that she didn't actually do anything terrible, but she made that person think that something really bad happened. And then when she reveals it to them, they're like, oh my God, I'm so glad that didn't actually happen. But I now sort of see everything in a different light, which is obviously the message of the movie.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think it's one that probably a lot of people need to see, because it does change your perspective, and it's worth checking out if you can find it in a cinema near you. And it's pretty much everywhere, but the way cinemas are at the moment, I'm not sure how many are doing full capacity or what movies they have out.
Yeah.
With the capacity restrictions, they might just be putting in the big sort of Wonder Womans and stuff like that, whereas this sort of smaller indie flick might not be as prevalent.
Yeah, of course. Makes sense.
I think it would be one that Ali would really enjoy. It is dark, but the message of women's empowerment seems like it'd be something she would enjoy.
Oh, yeah. I even remember before I ever met her, I knew who she was online, and a very powerful and strong like woman feminist and stuff, and that's one of the things I really love and respect about her. So yeah, this definitely sounds like something I will have to watch with her. But she's a bit stubborn in a way, so I might have to put it on and just be like, yeah, let's watch this movie. And then if she watched it, she'd really like it, because if I told her about this movie, she might not want to watch it. But yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check it out, because it sounds like it's something that's great for, I guess, for men to watch as well and understand what women go through, because they do go through a lot.
Yeah, well, there's one moment in particular that's like really poignant, where she confronts Nina's rapist, and he says the line, something like, do you realize that that's the scariest thing that a man can face, being accused of something like that?
Yes.
And she just instantly spins it around and goes, do you know what the scariest and worst thing that can happen to a woman?
Yes. That makes absolute sense. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm going to have to watch this, definitely. I love talking to you. I learn all these things I have to watch, and I can write down, and I've got a few things now that I'm going to check out over the next month or so.
And I think especially for you that's like constantly in bars and stuff, DJing and stuff, you would see a lot of these interactions happening quite often, I think.
Oh, yeah. You honestly, like, I watch people and you just see what blokes, and they just leave them alone, and they don't want to leave women alone, and it's just so funny. It's like, bro, just chill out. Like, respect what they're saying. Like, I know you're drunk, but that's no excuse. And there's actually something I've heard of where women go up to, like, the bar or bartender and say, oh, what is it? It's like a word.
Yeah, they, like, you ask for someone.
Angela. Ask for Angela. It's a safety campaign to combat sexual assault. So you go up and you go, ask for Angela, and then the bartenders will then go and order you the women a taxi, and it's so sad to hear that we're going to have to go through this, but loads of wrongs. Yeah, it's a bit much that they have to do this. So this sounds like a great film that will educate a lot of men, and yeah, I definitely. I'm going to I haven't even watched it, but when we finish, I'm going to call this my movie of the podcast that I have to watch, because it sounds like a very educational film that would really open up eyes to a lot of people.
Yeah, the fact that we even need the Ask for Angela campaign is disturbing. Like, we shouldn't need something like that to protect people from just sleazebags.
Yeah, not at all.
And then to close out the show, you were watching a few other things that were much more fun.
Oh, bro, I watched the funniest mockumentary. So, as we know, Parks and Recreation is my favourite show of all time, and that's a mockumentary. Came up to my parents' house on the 2nd of January after my big New Year's antics, and I was a fragile person. I was not myself. And they were watching this documentary on TV. I thought it was a documentary, and I was watching it. I'm going, what is this? And then I saw this guy, Joe Keery, who's one of the guys that's in Stranger Things. He's the guy that's, I can't remember his character name, but he's friends with all the younger kids. He's got like a nice mullet. And I was like, no, wait, this is not a documentary. And my parents said, no, it's a mockumentary. It's called Death to 2020, and it's a whole piss take of last year where these guys started interviewing not famous, but like people. So you've got it's run by the guys that do Black Mirror. I've never watched Black Mirror, but it's something I've always wanted to watch. And they start interviewing all different type of people. So like politicians, someone who's I guess supposed to be Elon Musk, like bored housewives, racist Americans. Lisa Kudrow, who's like this amazing like politician who just loves Donald Trump and that whole administration. And it's just such a funny look back at last year. And they just go through every single month until November, because obviously they wanted to get it out by the time the year started. But you've got Hugh Grant in it, Lisa Kudrow, Samuel L. Jackson, Christina Mitoli, the voiceover person, because obviously it's a mockumentary, is Lawrence Fishburne. It's just amazing. Like, I could not stop laughing about the whole thing. It's got bad reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got like 37% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is dumb, because it was just a great look back at last year. And yeah, I could not stop. Like, they're just such a funny look back at everything that happened last year, from like when coronavirus started to the bushfires in Australia to lockdown. And I don't have Netflix, but it was just lovely to watch that. And I reckon I'd be worth paying a month of Netflix just to watch it, because I loved it. I was in tears by the end of it. It was that funny.
Yeah, I watched it as well, and I put it on, and my mum didn't realize it was a mockumentary. She sort of came in halfway through it and was like, "Are these people serious?" And yeah, I enjoyed it too. It's a good way to look back at last year without it being super depressing.
Yeah.
Like there was moments there I was like, "Oh yeah, that happened."
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's very funny. There's some very funny moments there.
When I was watching it, I was like, this is very funny. They're taking the massive, like, the piss out of everything. And I was thinking to myself, this can't be American, because Americans are they can't take the piss out of themselves. And I was like, no, this is, despite the fact they've got a lot of Americans in it, it can't be. And even throughout, they had like references to Netflix, because obviously it's a Netflix mockumentary. They had references to Netflix and just taking the piss out of
The Crown and
Netflix stuff and being like, yeah, you should watch it. Yeah, like, my parents loved The Crown, and just even the fake Queen. And then even like there was this person called Pyrex Flask who was a scientist, and it was just a great British thing that just took the piss out of last year. And it's a great way to look back at it. I can't get over how funny it was.
Yeah, it's very British humour, which is no surprise given it's the Black Mirror guys who they are biting satirists. They'll tell you these crazy stories, but they do make it funny and add real life stuff into there, which is cool.
Yeah. I can't talk about it highly. And just even all the characters, the actors and stuff through it. And there was one thing that Samuel L. Jackson said, which I'm not going to be able to quote it correctly, but it was so true but funny in a way, but also that he would have come up with saying it rather than the Black Mirror guys. He basically said, sometimes I think I prefer the coronavirus to the police, because at least everyone knows what you get from the coronavirus, whereas the police masquerade as these people that want to look after you and they just screw you up. And that's coming from a person of color. And it was just like, you know, those things you watch and you're like, well, that's fun. I shouldn't really laugh. That's funny, but it's so sad and it's so true. And he just absolutely nailed what he said about that. It was just...
Yeah, you can tell that was a sort of off-the-cuff line that he's come up with and twisted what they wanted him to say type thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And made it his own. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved the Kristen Miliotti's character, the conspiracy
Karen.
theorist.
She was a Karen.
Trump, yeah.
Yeah.
Supporter. Nutbag.
Like, yeah, she was the Karen in it, and then, yeah, like, even Hugh Grant as, like, the director was, like, the historian was funny, and then, yeah, obviously my favourite was Joe Keery, the guy from Stranger Things, because he was this content creator on YouTube who was, he's like, yeah, I've made, like, $16 million this year. I'm like, that's my dream. And this is a guy in Stranger Things, he had a mullet as well, and obviously me with my mullet, I loved it, but, yeah, like, I never even heard of it, and I'm so happy I walked in and watched my parents watching this. I was like, wow, you guys are cool.
The Lisa Kudrow character is awesome as well. Like, they've done such a good job of finding those people that really stood out last year, but then twisting them and making them just ridiculously over the top.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see when and how they came up with the concept for that, because it's not like a normal television show. It's something they would have had to come up with and execute quite quickly. Because obviously you've got once in a year, but let's take away the final month because they only went up to November. You'd have to find the actors and actresses, film it, figure out what they're going to say. Yeah, it must have been something they would have had to come up with like halfway through the year and just realise, hey, this year's not going to be a good year.
Yeah. Like, this is a historic year. Let's look back on it and make it.
Yeah, I'm looking on Wikipedia now. It says it was written with a team of writers over 4 months, and it was filmed in late November across 10 days in London and LA.
Wow. They smashed it. They turned it around quick. Like, obviously the writing was going to take a long time because there's so much stuff to look back on and find the main talking points, but they smashed out the filming quick. The research would have been the hardest part.
Yeah, we obviously all went through last year, but I can't remember a lot of stuff. I just remember, yeah, wow, that's wonderful. I can't believe how quickly they did that, and how they've had to source the actors and actresses, and every single actor and actress that was in that nailed what they had to do. They were all just wonderful. Even like the Queen was amazing. My parents love The Crown, and they were just saying how the Queen was wonderful with that, and just. Even like, imagine having to play the Karen, which was Christine Mitoli was doing. Like, oh man. Yeah,
I'll be interested to see if they make that a yearly thing now.
Oh, they probably should. Well, this year hasn't started that well, so.
Yeah, January's already got some pretty good talking points.
Yeah, but at least, I guess if they want to do it again for 2021, they know what they're doing now, so they can start.
Yeah, they can sort of write the script month by month.
Yeah, but to come up with that idea, it's just phenomenal, and I guess that's why Netflix is so great in a way as well. And yeah,
just the start of this year already. Oh my goodness! It's like I saw a meme the other day, or was it today? Lauren showed me. Everybody's hoping for 2021 to be better than 2020, but Mad Max is set in 2021, and I Am Legend starts with a virus vaccine failure.
Wow.
And it's set in 2021. I was like, oh, good.
I'm going to be a JobKeeper for a long time.
We also watched this weekend, Contagion has just dropped on Netflix as well.
Okay.
It's a movie from 2011, so it's like a 10-year-old movie now, and it is eerily similar to what happened last year. It's all about a virus that comes from Hong Kong, from bats and pigs, and it spreads, and then they start talking about the R0 of the virus, the mortality rate, people catching it from touching surfaces, everyone starts wearing masks, then they develop a vaccine and it has to be rushed out. They start mentioning social distancing, quarantining. Watching it, I'm just like, how is this a 10-year-old movie? This feels like it was written and produced in the last 3 months.
Yeah, wow.
It was freakish.
Okay, I don't really feel like I want to watch that movie. No offense, because we went through enough last year, but it does sound scary for what people can see into the future or predict.
Like, I saw it and I was like, I've heard of this movie, and I didn't realize how eerily close it was to everything that happened.
Yeah, wow, that's like, end of the day, like, there's a lot of hits and misses with predictions, but being that close, nah, that's a bit extreme for me.
Yep, yeah, that's like a Simpsons got it right type thing. It was freakish.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually going to say, do you reckon this directed or do the Simpsons people had something to do with this? But
I don't know. I didn't do any research on it. We watched it last night. I was like, oh my god, this is like a freakishly eerie movie.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah, it's got Matt Damon in it, so it's
Matt Damon.
It was a good movie, but it was just crazy how close it was to real life.
Yeah, well, it's no offense to no for me, dog. I'm not that, but
yep.
At least it's out there.
And did you have anything else that you've been watching?
Man, I just during the downtime rewatched a couple of shows and movies that I liked when I was younger. So I rewatched Superbad because
very nice.
Because I was like, you know what, I need to watch. I heard like I think I was on TikTok and someone posted something about it being Eminem's favorite movie of all time. So I was like, oh, I need to rewatch that. It's definitely in my top 2 favorite comedies ever. I absolutely loved it. Great. Because it came out 2006 or 2000. I think it came out 2007, and that was just my first year out of school. So it was very much like a Jackson becoming an adult, discovering myself. I was 17, turning 18 because I was young for my year. And it still stands up. It's just wonderful. And I love Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill as well. So I rewatched that.
Speaking of Superbad, McLovin is in Promising Young Woman as one of the sleazy men.
Is he? Okay, cool.
So that's a nice little tie in there.
And speaking of Superbad, I also rewatched Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Okay, yep. I'm
going to say that's my favourite movie of all time. We can next intro with Johnny Darko's been replaced. It is just so wonderful because it's a love story. End of the day, it's a love story, but it's based on comic books, and the whole movie is based around video games as well. So it combines a lot of my interests. And Michael Cera is an amazingly awkward human being as an actor. He nails the role, and it's just considering my love of all like Marvel movies and DC and the comic book stuff. I was just rewatching it, just going, "This is the ultimate blokes love rom-com." Like, I absolutely loved it. The graphics and the final details, everything from when, I don't know if people have seen it, but if they haven't, he has to defeat this girl's 7 evil exes, and he defeats one, and he gets coins, and just all this attention to detail is amazing. I remember being in London in 2011, and I lined up for 3 hours to go to the Supreme store because I was a hype beast once upon a time. And there was a comic book store across the road, and I bought all the comic books, just like graphic novels, and it was just, yeah, wonderful. I absolutely love watching it. Watching my parents, and they loved it as well. And yeah, it's number one for me. I've Johnny Darko, sorry, Jake Gyllenhaal, you're amazing, but Michael Cera, you're number one. You've taken the crown. And yeah, as I do every year, I rewatch Entourage, which is a great show as well. So very much a creature of comfort.
Such a good show.
Amazing. But now watching It's Always Sunny, I have a feeling this is going to go into my top 3. So I don't know what show is going to jump out of my top 3, but I kind of know in my head which is going to do it without giving too much away. It's going to be a bit of a slide.
Oh.
So yeah.
It's always fun to go back and watch a few things that you know you're going to enjoy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes you just want to watch it, and then also not have to pay attention all the time. And I try to rewatch Parks and Rec, Seinfeld, and Entourage every year. As much as I finished Entourage at the start of this year, I still count as last year. But I only did 2 of the 3 shows last year. Well, so I kind of am feeling a show that drop out of the top 3 easily. So will give me a couple of months. Always Sunny's 14 seasons, but yeah, we'll see how we go.
Is Entourage streaming on anything in particular, or you just have that?
It's on Binge.
Ah, perfect.
So I've got Binge through Telstra for free for a year, and I was like, you know what? And then they recently got an app on the Samsung, so I was like, I'll just start watching it, and just started watching it, and just realised Johnny Drama is probably the best ever character in the history of television shows because I love him so much. I see a lot of myself in him a lot, but just even his small mannerisms, yeah, it was just great show. Very, very blokey, but yeah, wonderful show.
And what would be your top recommendation for the week?
From what I've watched, let's just go Deaths of 2020, just because we all experienced that year, and it's just a funny look back, and it kind of makes you realise what we went through last year. So that's my number one.
Yeah, it's the perfect one to start the new year and be like, okay, that's as bad as things can get, surely. Let's move forward in a positive light.
How about yourself?
For me, it is Promising Young Woman.
Yeah.
It's such a good movie, such an important movie that I think everyone needs to go out and watch if you can find it.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to check that out 100%. That and AEW is my two things for the next few weeks.
I look forward to hearing your Dynamite chat.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so thank you for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at JamieAppsMedia. You can follow Jaxon over on Twitter at Deckhead. The Commentary Booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Apps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine Jamzine over on Patreon at patreon.com/Jamie Apps Media. The following people supported at the Jam publisher level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support. Brian and June Hart, Courtney Paulson, Tracy Apps.